Whether it's basketball, football,
You route.
or baseball, whatever you're into when it comes to sports, you can find it right here. Now, play my intro.
Now welcome to the Robb Johnson Sports Show, presented by Robb Johnson Media and the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Robb Johnson, Larry Patterson, another great night here in the night of sports. Larry, how you feeling tonight, sir?
Well, we feeling pretty good, man. I'm ready to talk about some sports, get these topics on out, share them
Yeah,
with the
man,
world.
because we've been talking about other things. The world's been talking about other things for way too long the last couple of days. So let's talk about some sports. Let's get it going. First topic, and I'm gonna warn everybody. I may not have any graphics for you tonight, but usually, that's okay because we just gonna talk sports and we gonna make it sound good. So Larry, we're gonna start with our top five from both conferences. We're gonna go team by team. We'll start with the AFC. Who is your number 5 team? And it doesn't have to be from last year. This can be your prognostication, your prognostication for this year, how you think the team is gonna go. So we'll go you and it'll go me. Who's your number 5 team in the AFC?
We start with number 1 with me because you broke up for a second.
Start with your number 5 team on whichever one. How you want to do it?
My number 5 team, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I believe they still are very talented. You know, they added some speed in the offseason. I feel like this team could take the next step forward. I'm going with number 5, the Dolphins.
With health, and I mean this with health, I got the Indianapolis Colts at number 5. That's right. If Anthony Richardson stays healthy, that team nearly won the division last year. They dropped the pass. I believe they get into the playoffs. I believe that they go far. I believe they give the Ravens a better game than Texans did. I think the Colts are number 5 best team in the AFC. People can clown me if they want to, but I got the Colts because they bring people back from injury. Anthony Richardson is ready to go, and that team is primed to make a run. Jonathan Taylor proved last year that he deserved his money. So, your number 4 team.
My number 4 team, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. People may look at me a little weird off of that, but you still have a top quarterback in Josh Allen. He's received he's received a top target in Keon Coleman. I think he's going to do very well.
But he's a rookie. He's a rookie, Larry.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie. But C.J. Stroud was a rookie last year, and look at him.
And where did Keon Coleman go?
I just don't. He went the first pick in the second round.
No, he went to Florida State, and we know how Florida State receivers do in the NFL.
Nah. But I think they also needed to get younger on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that's what they did. I think that they're going to surprise a few people.
I agree. I got the Cleveland Browns number 4 because last time we saw Deshaun Watson, what was he doing? He was going 12-12, 14-14 against the Baltimore Ravens. That defense needs that offense to come through. And I believe that this Cleveland Browns team, especially with Nick Chubb coming back, and he will come back because that's how tough Nick Chubb is. You bring in Jerry Jeudy, you know about him very well. I think a change of location was just paramount for him. I think that Denver from the beginning, in my opinion, was a bad spot for him, even though I thought he would do good coming out of Alabama. I think the change of scenery is going to be good. You put Jeudy with Cooper, and then you got Njoku. I mean, if the Browns can't score at least over 21 points a game, they got an issue this year. So I think looking at their defense, Myles Garrett, I got them at number 4. Who's your number 3 team?
Yeah, and to follow up off that, I'm hoping Deshaun Watson can become just a shell of himself. You got the shoulder surgery and all that out the way.
Yeah.
It's time to ball now. So my
I
number
think you
3
will.
team.
I think you will.
My number 3 team. You ready for it?
Go ahead, man.
Are you ready?
I got
the Houston Texans.
I'm more ready than Triple H. You got the Houston Texans.
I got the Houston Texans as the
Got
number
the
3
Houston
team.
Texans.
And you look at this team, look at this team, look at this team. They were one game away. I know the game was,
Didn't they get blown out though?
they got blown out. They got blown out. They played a good first half. Don't get me wrong, but
What the
they
hell
were
does
a
that mean in
game
the second
away
half?
from they were a game away from an AFC championship. Let's not forget that.
Bro, they were a
CJ
long
Stroud,
ways.
they were a long way away. I mean, but they were a game away, even though the second half didn't go as well. But they were they were close. They were close in terms of the next game to an
Well,
AFC championship, and
okay.
they ran to Baltimore.
Well,
All right, I think this team is on the verge. I mean, look at the offseason moves that they made. They exceeded expectations last year when a lot of people didn't think that they were going to do that.
mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
as I said again about the Texans, they were a Gardner Minshew drop away from not getting to the playoffs. The Colts really screwed themselves in that game. Gardner Minshew now in Las Vegas. But if we even look at the schedule, look at this, man. Week 1 at Indianapolis, they got to play the Bears. They got to go to Minnesota, which is not going to be much of a task anymore if Jordan Addison gets suspended. It's been reported that he was caught asleep at the wheel at LAX from drinking. So yeah, so Jordan Addison and that Jefferson combination might have to be halted for a little bit. The NFL might start getting tough on his drunk driving, especially after the Henry Ruggs situation. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Jordan Addison, but I mean, hey man, that drinking that suspicion of DUIs and stuff might derail you. So I definitely don't have the Vikings in my
I
top 5
hate
when we get to the NFC. So.
I hate the NFL off season, but you need an off season because when the off
Yeah.
season comes, they do stupid stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah. Are you ready for this? You may not like this. A lot of people may not like this. You know what my number 3 team is? It's your former quarterback. The
Oh my
Pittsburgh
God! Come on, are you
Steelers. Oh,
serious?
yes. I'm going to Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you why. Let me ask you something, Larry. Remember the stat we gave about the touchdown passes that the Steelers quarterbacks had last year? The Steelers still won 9 to 10 games last year, Larry. The Steelers still won 10 freaking games last year, and they were in the game in Buffalo. They were in the game. It's just that Mason Rudolph was the quarterback. Now you bring in Russell Wilson, who's going to be much more appreciated. He won't be getting yelled at. He won't be getting berated like he did with Sean Payton, who hasn't won a championship since 2008, 2009. When the Indianapolis Colts started choking. Listen to this. The Colts win championships when they don't have to face Rex Grossman. That is the Colts championship banner. We beat Rex Grossman. We beat Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl. Listen, Pittsburgh added Patrick Queen. They got decent weapons on the outside. You possibly looking to Brandon Ayuk come into Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers won 10 games last year with the sorriest group of quarterbacks you've ever seen. They had a guy named Kenny Pickett who I said was not going to be that good coming out of Pittsburgh. Now, he could go to Philadelphia and resurrect his career. Because you know how people do. They go to Philadelphia and resurrect their career, especially when the brother man is in front of them, like a guy like Jalen Hurts or whoever is in front of them. I mean, look, what was his name? Kevin Kolb a few years ago when he came in there and did some great things. So who knows? He may resurrect his career. But my point is that defense is going to be elite. That defense is going to finally have a quarterback. What did they throw last year, Larry? 12 touchdowns between 3 quarterbacks? That's horrible. They finally got a quarterback again where he'll be appreciated. He won't be in the altitude. Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got an early season. They got some early season big games. The Falcons. They'll beat the Cowboys at home. I mean, come on now, Larry. Come on.
Yeah. He's stealing money. He's stealing money as well.
He's not stealing money. That's BS. Listen,
he's stealing money as well.
Listen, it's not Russell Wilson's fault that you guys hired the coach that you hired the first year, and they had to give him baby gloves because he didn't know what he was doing. That's on the Walmart money. Okay, just because you got a lot of money don't mean you can just throw money at the problem. That's that Walmart money. And a few weeks from now, Larry, me and you're going to talk about ownership. because there's a lot of sucky ownership groups in sports right now. These new ownership groups. The Walmart money ain't working, buddy. Now, can the Broncos turn it around? I'm sure they can. But Russell Wilson, as we saw last year, he beat the Bills. He beat a few other good teams. I still think that Russell Wilson can do the job. Now, who's your number 2 team? I think this should be consensus easy. This should be easy, Larry.
Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, I'm gonna stop you right there. Mine too. Mine too.
So who you got at number 1?
Let me see.
Somebody that loves ketchup.
Dang. Let me see. Hold on. Give me 1 second, Larry. I have it right here. That team in the AFC North. No, not the AFC North. I'm talking about that. No. I'm trying to remember. Oh, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm just playing. I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs. I got the damn Chargers.
Yo, I was waiting for you, like you said, because sometimes you come in with some off the wall stuff. So I was like, this man said, "Oh, the Los Angeles Chargers." I knew you wasn't serious, but I was expecting the explanation after that. So
I mean, well, listen. They got Jim Harbaugh. Okay, Justin Herbert is the greatest quarterback since sliced bread. He is the male Caitlin Clark. No matter what he does, it gets swept under the rug. Justin Herbert could have been at the rally yesterday, and they would have excused him. They could have named him the suspect, and he still would have gotten the benefit of the doubt. I mean, every offseason I look, Stephen A. Smith, Justin Herbert. And then he tear down some brother man quarterback. But no, that's another story for another day. Anyway, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though they lost to Jerry Sneed, that team is still going to be good. That team is still going to be very formidable. And you add Hollywood Brown, and you got Xavier Worthy now, and you got that guy who's running almost a 4.2. He runs a 4.3, but almost like a 4.29 at best. Kansas City is going to be even better on offense. Yeah, they're the rich get richer. So let's go to the NFC. You're really going to be mad at me on this one. Who's your number 5 team?
My number 5 team is the Philadelphia Eagles. I had a hard time going between Philly and Dallas.
I didn't.
I'm like, Dallas didn't really impress me with the overall moves in the off season. But Philly, they grabbing the top cornerback in the draft, as well as Cooper DeJean. It was some other guys in free agency. Yeah, I went with Philly. They have a lot to prove, but I went with Philly as my number 5 team.
And it all depends on Jalen Hurts' arm. Jalen Hurts has to throw the football down the field, so I definitely agree with you on that. My number 5 team is Chicago Bears. That's right. I'm already giving it to the Bears. They got the offense already. Listen, Larry, check this out. When Montez Sweat joined that team last year, the defense completely changed. You look at you go back and look at the week 1 against go back when you get a chance. Go back and watch week 1 against the Packers. They looked atrocious on offense and defense. Now, last game against the Packers, the offense wasn't that great, but because the Packers defense had improved. But that Bears defense, good God, that Bears defense improved big time. And when you look at Montez Sweat, when you look at Chase Young, and you look back in the next 20 years and you realize, damn, the Commanders had both of those guys coming off the edge, and the fans still bitched and complained. But you can't blame Dan Snyder for that, can you? You can blame Dan Snyder for a lot of things, but hey, they had Chase Young, they had Montez Sweat. That's on the Commanders. Anyway, the Bears have a really good offense. Caleb Williams is going to bring a whole new dynamic. Caleb Williams has heard all the noise, all the doubters, all the naysayers. He put that USC program on his back, took them to heights they hadn't been to in years. So he's ready for the challenge. He's got the weapons. So I'll give it to the Bears, number 5. Who's your number 4?
And to go off the Bears, like you said, they started off pretty bad. But as the season went on, number 1 rushing defense in the league. And that should carry over to the next season.
Serious business.
My number 14, I got the team who beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs last year, in Jordan Love, in the Green Bay Packers. You add
Who should have been in the NFC Championship game, by the way.
he should have. Now you add a Josh Jacobs to the situation. You got those receivers out there. The defenses it could improve. So I'm liking what the Packers are brewing over there. They're my number 14.
My number 14 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Very simply, they gotta get Chris. They gotta get Saquon Barkley going. This is a big year for Saquon. Is he legitimate or is he just a flash in the pan? Is he's no longer in New York, so he can't complain about not winning. He's on a winning program. We'll see what it carries over. Will he be a winning running back, or will he just be a guy that's just a guy? Will Jalen Hurts be able to make the throws? Will A.J. Brown get frustrated? We shall see. To me, I think the big part of the team should be Devontae Adams, and do not count out losing your center. You know, you lose Kelsey, that's a big loss. It's bigger than people say. People say, "Oh, it's just a center." It's not. No, that's the quarterback.
It's very important.
That's the quarterback of your team. That's just like the second quarterback of your team. So yeah,
very important. Number 3.
Yep.
Number 3, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. This team went to the playoffs last year. Went toe to toe with the Lions in the wild card round. Was it the wild card round? Yeah, the wild card round. I the two straight seasons with Sean McVay. Might be more than 2, but Sean McVay always does well during the draft. He always.
But how much time does Matthew Stafford have? How much time does Matthew Stafford have? That's the big question. And can he actually stay healthy this year?
That's $1 million question. That's a big question. Can he stay healthy? Can this passing attack with, I call them the tag team champions, with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who had an extraordinary rookie season last year.
Yeah.
And then Kyler, what's my I keep blanking on my dude's name, the running back from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, with him having a stellar season, like this Rams team, it's going to get better. And then you add a couple veterans, and that one defensive player I'm looking at is Tre'Davious White to kind of like turn his career around.
I think that's a big addition. I think that's a big addition for sure.
Yeah. If he can be that player that he once was, that shutdown corner, not to say that he will go back to that player, but if he can just be a shell of that, I think that is a valuable pickup.
For me, number 3, and it's Kyron Williams, by the way.
Kyron
Williams. My number 3, very easy. The Green Bay Packers. Romeo Doubs and that crew, they're gonna be very good this year. I think they're finally gonna be healthy. They have weapons upon weapons, the best weapons they've had since they won the Super Bowl back in the day. Christian Watson is no joke. He's going to be a very good performer this upcoming season. I think he'll be healthy.
Can he stay healthy?
I think he will stay healthy this year. I think this is finally the year he'll stay healthy, because if not, they will be looking for another guy probably in the draft next year. So he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay on the field, because the economics of football aren't the same as other sports. So they can cut you at any time. So, and I'm not saying they would do that to him or trade him, but you got to keep your head on the swivel in this league. Jordan Love is a superstar. Their defense is very good. They've got confidence, and they're looking to knock somebody off. Who's your number 2 team?
The San Francisco 49ers.
And
I give the San Francisco 49ers the number 2, because we're tired of you making all these damn offseason moves, and we're tired of at the trade deadline you making all these moves to put yourselves in a championship situation, and you're never coming away with the big one. A lot of people give the Dallas Cowboys hell. Well, guess what? You got to give the 49ers hell too for just not winning it, because that's the goal at the end of the day, is winning it. And these guys, go ahead.
So let me ask you this. So I'm just guessing number 1 is the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
So my order is different than yours, but I got at number 2, I got the Lions. I got the 49ers number 1. And if anybody asks me where's Dallas, Where's Waldo? Get the hell out of my face. Um, where's Carmen San Diego? Get the hell out of my face. Don't ask me about the Cowboys. They're not in my top 5, and that's just bottom line. They don't deserve to be there. Not after that performance they put on. Even though I give Green Bay credit, not after that performance they put on in the playoffs. They
You
got a
got to
lot.
be punished for your performances in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
they got a lot to
That's what
prove to a lot
matters.
of people. A lot to prove. There's some other teams that need to be punished as well. I kind of hesitated to even put the Lions number 2. I wanted to switch them with the Packers, but because they played so well in the playoffs, even despite the turnovers, etc., I think the Rams will be back. So
And they had a
can't wait.
great first half.
Exactly. So yeah, we got that. We got that out the way. Let's go to our second topic as we talk about college football. Let's talk about the first game, Larry. Let's talk about Georgia and Clemson. Georgia leads the all-time series 43-18-4. Who do you think is going to win this game and why?
I think Georgia's going to win. Um, I think their defense is going to take a step back due to all the guys that left in the draft. But I think that Carson Beck is going to lead this team
Mm-hmm.
into a victory against Clemson. With Clemson, Cade Klubnik, who's going into his second year as a starter,
Mm-hmm.
completed 64% of his passes, over 2,800 yards. He had 19 touchdowns and
Mm-hmm.
9 interceptions in his first year as a starter. So they do return 5 of their top 7 pass catchers. Antonio Williams he played 5 games due to injury, and in 2022 he led the team with 56 receptions. You also get Tyler Brown, who had 52 receptions last year, and Jake Bringstool, um, 50 receptions. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how this team does against this Georgia defense.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, for me, it's very simple. Carson Beck is the best prospect since Matt Stafford. There's a possibility he could go number 1, and he could possibly outbid LeBron again. Um, he could, do some different things here and there. What the hell am I talking about, LeBron? I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell that came from, but that just slipped my mind. But anyway, um, I don't know what the hell that came from. Anyway, but no, what I was gonna say is that um, you know Carson could easily be the best prospect since Matthew Stafford. This offense is going to be spectacular. I think the defense might take a little bit of a step back, like you said, but I think the defense is still going to be strong. And Georgia's schedule is so cupcake anyway that it won't matter. I mean, they got a lot of cupcakes in there as they usually do, which I don't blame them because they quote unquote play in the SEC. So, you got to save them for the playoffs. So, um,
Carson Beck had over 3,900 yards passing and
yeah,
24 touchdowns. He
yeah.
gets Travis Etienne's brother, Trevor Etienne from Florida. You also
Mm-hmm.
get London Humphreys from Vanderbilt. So
And they got a player out of Miami. They got a receiver out of Miami as well. I can't remember his name. They got a receiver out of Miami. He's pretty good. I thought he was
yeah,
pretty good when he was there. So, um, but
Kobe
yeah,
Young.
yep, Jacoby Young. That's right. That's right. Now let's go to the second game. University of Miami against Florida. Miami's all-time is 29-27 against Florida. They actually have 12 wins to 9 losses at Florida. So I look at this game, Larry, and I say that Cam Ward is going to come to play. This could possibly be his only year in Miami after transferring from Washington State. Miami has a lot to prove. Miami has to come in and play physical. They have to show that physical style of defense. They have to play good offense, and they just have to show everybody that they are, kind of back to what they used to be because it's a 12-game playoff, 12-team playoff now, so it's easier to get into that tournament. But I just don't see Miami. I don't see Miami winning this game. I just don't. I think until Miami can prove to me under this regime that they're mentally tough, I gotta give it to Florida.
I'm just gonna go with Miami. Um, Cam Ward transferring from Washington State of over 6,000 yards, 6,963 yards to be exact, 48 touchdowns in 2 seasons at Washington State. So you're coming over to the ACC. Did you know that the Canes were 1-4 in games last year, decided by 7 points or less?
Don't I know it? Don't I? Don't I?
They also get four returning. They also get 4 returning starters on defense, and defensive end Ruben Bain, Daryl Porter Jr., the cornerback, and Damari Brown, cornerback, who led those teams last year. So on the Florida side, Graham Mertz is the starter right now. Also, shout out to Jeray Hawkins Jr., Tank Hawkins Jr. He's a freshman at Florida right now. Me and his dad grew up together, and I remember at a cookout we had in 2016, my fat ass was was lined across him as a cornerback. Now he burnt me, but he didn't get the pass, and that's one thing I got over. No fly zone, baby.
Yeah, until you
Shout
gotta
out
go.
Tank though.
Yeah, until you gotta go against me. But anyway, you know, I'm Moss Muff for a living. Anyway, I think that it's gonna be a good game, competitive game. As I said before, Miami's 29-27 against the Florida Gators. So we'll definitely see how things go when it comes to that game. But it's gonna be interesting. Now the next one we got Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Notre Dame has 3 wins at Texas A&M 2. The reason this game is interesting to me is you look at a guy like Mike Elko who takes over for Jimbo Fisher. You're talking about a big contract. Jimbo Fisher had a huge contract. Riley Leonard's going to be on the other side. I guess he's faced him in practice before, so it's going to be really interesting to see Riley Leonard against his former coach. You know, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great game in Death Valley. Got to give it to LSU. I don't think that Alabama can come into that atmosphere and win.
um, Riley Leonard versus Connor Wegman,
Yeah,
who had a foot injury in the fourth game of the season. He had 1,875 yards and 16 touchdowns before exiting, that game.
yeah.
You also got running back in Amari Daniels, who rushed for 5.1 yards a pop and 6 touchdowns. And you got receivers returning like Noah Thomas, Jade Walker, and Moose Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so on the defensive side of the ball, Torian York has 74 tackles. And then you got Shamar Turner and Shamar Stewart, who combined for 7.5 sacks and 12 tackles for a loss. On the Notre Dame side, did you know that Notre Dame ranked nationally number 2 in completion percentage, defensive completion percentage, number 3 in passing yards allowed and yards per attempt, number 5 in total defense, number 7 in scoring defense. Can this defense repeat or even be better than what they were last year?
We'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see it. Should be a good game between Notre Dame and Texas A&M. I'm looking forward to it. Now, number 3, we have Coco Gauff, who is a American tennis player. She's 20 years old. She won't be 21 until next March. She lost at Wimbledon, but she's won a championship, which is the U.S. Open. Do you give her a chance, real quickly? Do you give her a chance to win the gold medal? I mean, not the gold medal, but win another U.S. Open this year while it goes to Flushing Meadows?
Well, she is the reigning U.S. Open champ,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. I mean, remember when Coco Golf was going through those little slumps. Like she had her a nice little, I think it was 2022 or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then like, for several tournaments, it's like she just kept coming up short.
Yeah.
And she won the U.S. Open last year, and then she's nationally ranked number 2, I believe,
Yep. Yeah.
number 2 or 3.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her a shot. But she's got to come through though.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. She plays a good game. She's always able to return balls in a good timely fashion to get back in position. But like I said, she'll be 20. She won't be 21 next year. So even if she wins or doesn't win this U.S. Open, I mean, she still got time next year. Um, but as crazy as the world is, I tell anybody, don't don't overestimate anything because you don't know how much time you got left here on this crazy earth. So take advantage of it as much as you can. Don't put your dreams on hold for sure.
Hey,
Um,
who was my man that won the men's Wimbledon? Alcatraz.
yeah,
Hey, shout out to him for winning his second straight Wimbledon, right? Is it
yeah,
second straight
yeah.
Wimbledon?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll say this to you as well. Tennis is in a very good space for a long time. I'm like, how they gonna survive without Serena and Venus? Just like Tiger, how would they survive? And both sports have really started to thrive. But it's up to the people to want to support, tennis and the tennis because it's you got a lot of people out there who love the sport of tennis, including myself. So continue to support that. Now, let's get to the other subject here, and this is the one I think that me and you both kind of been salivating for, and this is the what if. What if in Super Bowl 33 the Minnesota Vikings had faced off against the Denver Broncos? How would history have changed? You start, Larry.
How would history have changed? I don't think history would change because I think that the Denver Broncos would still be Super Bowl champions.
Okay,
That's
but
just my take on
the
it.
Minnesota Vikings were 15-1 that year, and you got to remember the Denver Broncos, on the other hand, lost to the lonely New York Giants, and I believe they lost to Seattle that next week. So the Denver
Well, weren't we
Broncos,
13-0 going into that though?
they were 13-0, but they finished the season
Yeah.
14-2. So I mean, hey, I'm just saying, you know, but at the same time, if you look at that team in totality, right? Okay, so the Atlanta Falcons that year was 14-2, which when I look back at it now, I'm like, how the hell did they go 14-2 when you were a division with the upstart Saints, the 49ers, the 49ers, I think the 49ers beat them once. But you're in that section and you look at how everything went between Minnesota and Denver and Atlanta. And you say history wouldn't change. Oh, I say history would have changed. Because remember, we could have had Randall Cunningham and Dennis Green in the Super Bowl as the first black coach and quarterback combination. This is in 1998. And if you look back at it, Larry, you know who the top MVP choices were that year? It was Terrell Davis. Who was that? Randall Cunningham, Jamal Anderson, and Randy Moss. And that's my point. The Falcons were 14-2. And even me, at the time, in my age, what was I, 10 years old, something like that, 10, 11? I knew the Broncos had no chance in hell. I'm sorry, not the Broncos. The Falcons had no
The
chance in hell
Falcons.
in that game. They had absolutely no chance. But if we had got Denver and Minnesota, remember, we possibly get and here's another caveat to it. If the Vikings, not the Vikings, but if the 49ers had beaten the Atlanta Falcons, we possibly get a great AFC Championship game between those two rivals. So it's just so many possibilities. But when I look back at that game, possibility of that game, you could have had John Elway against Randall Cunningham. Do you know what that game could have done for Randall Cunningham's career? Do you know that could have put Randall Cunningham in the Hall of Fame, even though there are a lot of writers who aren't really fond of him? That could have helped uh, uh, Randall Cunningham's career so much, I believe, and it would have put his career in the next spot, in the next position. But that's just how I think about it.
He had a good game. I went back and I watched it. Uh, I was watching it and then I was half sleep watching it too. But but I was just able to go back and just watch how good he was in that game. Randy
Yeah,
Moss, like I seen Randy Moss on some misdirection, jet sweeps and stuff like that. Like Randy was good in that game, man. And just for him for Gary, was it Gary Anderson
Gary Anderson. Yep,
to miss that
and
kick,
we have
man?
Morton
Oh
on the
my
other side.
God.
Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah, but
I hate
here,
when games come down
yeah.
like that.
But here's the crazy thing about the Broncos schedule, and this is when I knew the Broncos were going to be a good team. They're playing Dallas week 2, and Terrell Davis, who was the MVP that year, he took off. I remember like we just said, Deion Sanders was in his rearview mirror. Deion Sanders couldn't catch him, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a long year. And if you remember, the Cowboys lost to the Arizona Cardinals, allowing the Vikings to play the Cardinals. They beat them like almost 20 points. But that was the upstart for the Arizona Cardinals. And let me say, so if you look at the Broncos' schedule, like I said, besides beating the Cowboys and Patriots, they beat the Raiders, Commanders. They blew out the Commanders and Eagles. They beat the Eagles 41-16. They were dominating folks. And then when they started losing, it was at the Giants and at the Miami Dolphins.
Seattle. Oh,
So
Miami.
yeah, they lost that. They lost the Giants game by 4 because I remember the Giants I think threw a late touchdown pass, and then
That was a Monday nighter, wasn't it?
No, actually that was a CBS game. I believe the Monday night game was actually the Dolphins against the Jets. This was at 6:20, but I think they had to continue it because the game had spilled over because so many things were going on with Thanksgiving. So, you know, yeah. And I didn't know if,
Yeah.
yep. But no, and also like I said, you look at Minnesota, you look at Robert Smith, you look at Chris Carter, you look at Randy Moss, again Dennis Green, the Hall of Famers, the greatness on the team, 15-1, and I believe the only game you lost was to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which at the time was a fierce rivalry. Besides the Packers, I don't know, man. I just think we could have got a better Super Bowl. I think history would have been better for itself. You look at the Falcons, who they had. They had They had Tuggle. They had Buchanan.
Ray Buchanan.
Yeah, Ray Buchanan. Chris Chandler. Chris Chandler was their quarterback.
Yeah.
And to this day, I don't know how the Falcons beat them. I mean, Jamal Anderson, because Jamal Anderson, I think he had a subpar game. He wasn't that good, but he was doing the dirty bird all year. He was doing the dirty bird.
Did he have an extraordinary year that year? It's like he just came out of nowhere.
It baffles my mind because, bro, he didn't even look like he was that fast when he was doing it. But he had a real breakout year. And then after that, we don't know. Maybe they didn't want to pay him. Maybe he fell off a little bit. I don't know. But after that season, things weren't really the same. But shout out to him for still making sure.
Was a pretty good. Mathis was a pretty good receiver.
Most definitely. So if we got the fantasy pick we want, and we got the Vikings versus the Broncos 98. What's the score and who wins?
The score probably is, I'm going to say 34-31 Denver.
34-31. Well, I'll say this. The Vikings were really good at running the football. They beat the Jaguars actually that season 50-10. A lot of people forget about that, but they beat the brakes off the Jaguars 50-10. And I just look at this team. I looked at that team. I looked at how they were built. And then you bring in the special teams woes in that game. I think we missed out on a great Super Bowl because, like I said, Larry, everybody in the moment knew that was going to be a boring Super Bowl, and even the build up to it was horrible. I mean, it was.
I just didn't expect Denver to beat Atlanta like that. You know what I mean? It's a Super Bowl, so you're expecting.
But see, that's the problem. The thing is a lot of people had not really seen those guys swim like that before, but a good swimmer when you see it, and I just look at
And then you talk about Minnesota was very good at running the ball that year. You know who was good at defending the run that year? Denver. They were ranked third in the league.
And they were the team that revolutionized the smaller offensive linemen as well. That's why they were able to run like that. Like I said, and then you look at the Broncos.
Blocking.
Yeah, you look at the Broncos with Ed McCaffrey. They brought back, they had a guy like Rod Smith. Rod Smith, one of the most underrated wide receivers besides Donald Driver in NFL history, in my opinion.
Undrafted.
Yep, exactly. So when I look at this team at that time, I just think that in the future they can win more championships. They just have to, do things the right way, get the right quarterback, etc. I think the Raiders can get back to what they were. Do I see the 49ers ever going back to their dog days? I could see it because I told you what the number was last week after this year. It's horrible. So if they can recruit well and get players in, they should be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, Larry, that was our fantasy pick of the week. You had it, 34-35? I got the Vikings winning that game 31-21. I think that the Broncos, I don't think Shan Sharp would have been talking the trash he did if he had to deal with that offensive the Minnesota Vikings.
Defense.
So, yep. So now let's go to our final segment because I tell you we weren't gonna be too long tonight because we both got some stuff going on. So we're gonna tell the world how we feel. All right, Larry, tell the world how you feel. It's a lot of topics to choose from, no shortage.
It's a lot of topics today. You know what? At first I didn't have anything, but now I do. So ESPN, was it
Oh
ESPN or
Lord.
ABC that had the, you know which direction I'm going in this, right?
Yep.
That had the Fever and the, who did the Fever play today? The
The
Fever
Minnesota
played
Lynx.
the Minnesota Lynx. Aaliyah Boston had 17.16 rebounds, also followed up with 4 blocks. Kelsey
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell had, I want to say, 17 points and some change.
Yep.
Caitlin Clark, what did Caitlin Clark have? I think she had like a 20 piece.
No, she had 16 points.
She had 16? Okay.
Yeah, but
She had
she
16.
didn't have a double today. No,
No, she
no
didn't have a
double. I
double.
don't
She
think.
didn't have a
Yeah.
triple double. She was, what did I tell you she was? She was she 3 for 14 from the field?
Yeah.
And she was 2 for 11 from 3. But all the attention went to her, and we get it. But sometimes you gotta go in a different direction. You gotta go with the player that the stats look good, who actually did a lot more work. 17 points and 16 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
pretty good on the defensive end, but then it's like no matter what, the as you called it, the golden goose is going to get all the attention. You know, how do you get a post game interview going 2 for 11 from 3 and 3 for 14 from the field? I don't get it. WNBA, you got to do better, man. You got to do
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. They gotta do better. Get these games off Ion television. Start giving us actual games that we can watch on national television. I totally agree with you on that, Larry. My final word of the night, and my tell the world how I feel. Divorce in Black sucks ass. Anybody who likes that movie, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I have no problem with Tyler Perry whatsoever. I hope that man makes his money. But, yo, did people really call that movie dope? It didn't make any sense. You know, the first segment, I'm not gonna give the movie away, but the first couple of lines of the first segment of the movie, they should have switched out with somebody in, something like that, because it just, I don't know. It's just horrible. I mean, Megan Good saved the movie it went from a 0 for me to a 5. So 5 out of 100. Megan Good saved that movie. If you like that movie, good for you. Maybe that's the type of drama you like in life, but I don't know. It's just horrible, Larry. It's just horrible. Anyway, anything left you got to tell anybody tonight?
No, man. Other than everybody be safe out there and watch your
Rest in
surroundings.
peace, Jacoby Jones.
Rest in peace to Jacoby Jones. You
40 years
gave
old,
me
brother.
one of the
40 years
worst.
old.
You gave me one of the worst days of my life. But today I say sleep in peace, brother.
Sad, man. Sad. So many people out there losing their lives, and it's crazy because the same regarding the events of yesterday. It's funny because some people, I'm an independent. I can't think you're like me, kind of more independent. You have the independent mindset, and we can tell the world how we feel because this is non-sports. But it's funny to me how certain people don't believe in conspiracy theories until it comes to their side of the aisle. You know who we are out here, ladies and gentlemen? A bunch of freaking hypocrites. That's what we are in the world and in sports, a bunch of hypocrites. And yes, I'm going to bring his name up. You guys made fun of Jalen Brunson for taking a pay cut. Imagine if he took that 113 or 114 million extra. you be calling him a bad teammate and blah, blah, blah. Can they survive? So, yeah. Miss me all the BS. You all have a good night. Larry, I'll see you next week for episode 66 of Robb Johnson Sports Show. Deuces, everybody.
It's caught in the crossfire.